Hey everybody, world's biggest geek here. My name is Kevin, back another review here today. And I just finished the season finale of one of Marvel's incredible shows, Marvel Television, Daredevil Born Again Season 2. And my gosh, guys, it was the most incredible finale. It blew me away. This entire series was insanely wild. It was mind blowing. It was outstanding. Great performance, great acting, great choreography. So many incredible things that I'm about to wind up. I'm like, this truly was a incredible show. It was truly one of the best. I just say season 2 was outstanding. It was amazing. They did so much incredible job. Actor Charlie Kirk did a outstanding job as Daredevil, and I am so happy. Even actor Vince playing the Kingpin, he did an outstanding job in his role. But further ado, guys, let's get into it. So the whole series was basically about this ship called the Northern Star, and the Northern Star was transporting cargo of illegal weapons. So Daredevil, so this show basically took place right after season 1 due to vigilantes, the law breaking. So Daredevil was in hiding. So the boat comes under New York and he jumps the boat itself. So he comes around and he hears something in the wall. He hears a clock. Tick, 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 tick. And as he, breaks the wall down, he finds these weapons. But also there were these two people on the ship. They said that we must sink the ship as orders so no one finds out. So as they push the button on the ship starts to sink. And now the Kingpin Mayor Kingpin comes out and he's like, oh, this was the work of Daredevil. Put a call out that he's a criminal, he's a fugitive. So now oh, what's going on? So Karen and Daredevil were hiding in Josie's bar upstairs. And they've been hiding for a while because Daredevil's pictures all over the city. And, he's wanted for the crimes of everything he's done. And now you learn that, okay, well, now they have to find these two crew members, the captain and one of his shipmates. And as they go, in hiding, they find this restaurant, this lady. It's like, look, there's a person here. You're harboring a fugitive. So when the task force chased them, it's like, oh, you're wanted questioning. And of course, Buck, who's also known as Bullets, finds that captain and kills him. They say, oh, you'll reunite with your family, but he, kills the captain. So now oh, this is getting out of hand. But then the same lady that helped the captain, they said there's a man outside. He wants to talk to you. He's like, hi, I'm the shipmates. I need your help. Please, please help me find shelter and food. So now it's getting serious. Oh, Kingpin is really looking for these guys. But also too, Cherry, who was a friend of Matt's, he gets attacked in his apartment. And, he's like, oh, Cherry, we're friends. And they beat him. But then Cherry's like he's having a seizure. Like, oh my gosh, having a stroke. And one of the task force guys takes off Daredevil's mask. Like, oh my goodness, it's Matthew Murdock. He's gone missing. And then right as, right as they're about to bust his face open, you hear this weird knife. And it says on the thing, you're welcome. And it turns out Bullseye saved his life. It's like, wait, why is Bullseye saving his life? And then, Karen's like, oh, this is impossible. Bullseye, saved you. This is wrong. He killed Foggy. He's like, yes, I know. He killed Foggy. So everyone's like, but Kingpin's at large. But then there was this little Kingpin clip. It's like, hello, citizens of New York. I've come to tell you all legal things and blah, blah, blah. So now people are like, oh, Mayor Fist is getting mad. It's like, oh, we need to figure out who's acting like me and putting on this mask, a charade. And Daniel, he's like, yeah, I'm on it, sir. I'll figure it out. But the one who was wearing that Kingpin mask and the suit was BB herself. Because she, BB is exploiting the truth. She's like, look, Mayor Fist is doing illegal things. and he's doing terrible things. That ship crossing in the water, really? Oh, it was keeping diapers. Oh, that's not right. He's keeping, but also too, the task force was at the same at the scene of the ship, and there was weapons they were shipping. They put on trucks, and they were shipping it to the warehouse. But also Angela, who is our white tiger, she went to the store, and the guys, these kids that she knew were robbing some alcohol. They said, oh, the owner's like, put it back. Like, oh, they're kids, they'll learn their lesson. But then task force comes in, and they're like, hey, he's just a kid, he's just a kid. And they look at her mom like, you just touched the task force. That's an assault. So they arrest her and they put her away. But then that, oh, Kingpin has a whole bunch of people locked away, innocent people that didn't do anything. But then Swordman, who was in the first season, he was there for days. And knowing that, McDuffie was sent to question Swordsman. So, in order to do that, the task force had to blind her. They said, you can't see. So she was like, okay. And they took the blindfolds off. She talks to Swordman. It's like, look, Mr. Fisk made me. He locked me up in here because I didn't get his proposal of building a property that he wanted. And now he's trying to, he put me in here because, I just didn't cooperate with him. So, McDuffie, she goes to the bar. It's like, yeah, here's some guy over there offered you a drink. And then boom, it's like, hey, who are you? So and then on the note says, please go to the office. And it says, McDuffie, like, look, I'm not a criminal. I'm not like, he's like, yes, you are. You are now a fugitive with us. I need to ask you a couple of questions. You went to go see Mr. Jack himself. So I need you to tell, can you subscribe everything? It's like, well, there was birds, there was water, it was an old rusty place. The stairs were a little like, they made a lot of noise and all that. So now Daredevil's like getting subscribe, he's getting all this subscribe and all this, like kind of like tell me, okay, this is what I'm dealing with. But also, long and behold, we got our first appearance of Jessica Jones at her own home when they attacked her and her daughter. So you see all these task force people getting like smashed to the windows, being thrown around, and like the daughter's like, she's got this bomb, she doesn't even know what's going on with it. It's like, and her mom's like, baby, that's not a toy, that is a bomb. Do not touch that. That is very, very bad. And all of a sudden, Daredevil and Jessica Jones are teaming up. She is back. She's like, they came after her and her daughter. And like now they find this warehouse that they had all the people in there. And now they are fighting, knocking up this place. And they blew up all the guns. And also before that too, Daredevil and Swordman. Oh my gosh. When they busted the pipe, Swordman threw one of the pipes and went through the guards. They freed the people. Angela finally pursues her role as White Tiger. She freed the people because she was honoring, her uncle who was killed by a task force, a squad agent. So now, she's ready to protect and all this. So now it's like people are like, oh, it's getting out of hand. They said Mayor Fisk, the prisoners have escaped. Daredevil was at the scene of the crime. So now he does a speech like, ladies and gentlemen, we have breaking news. Matthew Murdock has gone missing. If you please find him, please call this number. And now Matthew's like, oh my gosh, like now he's wanted. He can't go outside. He can't be seen. Everyone's like looking around like, oh, Matthew's like scared. And, so they also, so Matthew's like, oh, what are we going to do? But then Task Force S comes to Josie's bar, which was the apartment. And they come after Daredevil and Karen. They're fighting. And Karen finds one of these task force agents. Like, look, I'm on your side. I'm against Mayor Fisk. I'm against his policy. So that's how Daredevil got into the warehouse to free the people because he had his card. So he's like, look, I'm with you guys. Like, we're going to knock you out, kid. You cannot tell anyone you saw me. Can't tell anyone you spoke to us. It's like, God, you got to play it cool. Just go back to the task force and do your job. So he's like, yeah, I promise. And so now they got everything they need, and they have all the people in this old house. They start recording witnesses, and one of the shipmates like, my name is, the shipmate, and I was ordered to sink the ship. They said, who gave you the order? They said, people call him the Kingpin, but we knew him as Mayor Fisk. And he told us to flood the ship when Daredevil, they said, did Daredevil harm us? They said, no, Daredevil did break on, but he didn't harm us. Daredevil did not flood the ship. We did. We were ordered by the Kingpin. But then also all these other people were at the dock. They said, hey, when are we going home? They said, yeah, you guys are going home, but later. So now it's getting out of hand. Mayor Fisk like, do the call. Yes, sir. And they killed all the shipment. They killed all the workers, and they blew up the ship. So now people are like, oh my gosh, they blew up the ship. They killed those workers so that people wouldn't, find out about all this. So now it's like, oh, it's getting out of hand. Like Kingpin's really getting hidden. But then we see a flashback episode of Wesley and Kingpin going to the art show with Vanessa. And Vanessa, she loved her art. She's like, what about this painting? And they said, no, not this painting. And, they said, are you sure about this one? They said, yes, I think this painting will be perfect. It'll be good. So, of course, that's how we meet, how Vanessa meets Wilson. But in this episode, it was also where Kingpin was in a boxing match. And, he was boxing. And Bullseye, oh my gosh. He is the baddest character. He was at the diner. He was drinking a milkshake. And he had one of the toothpicks and got the guards, killed them, knocked them out. There was this guy with a dog. He's like, please don't hurt him. He's like, I'm one of the good guys. And so he lives this ordinary life. His neighbor likes him. He feeds the cats, the birds. And, he gives, money to the homeless. But also, too, he's like, when now Daredevil finds it, like, oh, I need to do my deed. I need to do my deeds. Like, Daredevil's like, what's your deed? I have to go after her. So as Wilson's fighting, they say, oh, it's a trap. Bullseye comes in and just, tries to get Kingpin. He's like, he throws it, but then Kingpin uses his boxing belt and breaks it. But then when you notice, Vanessa's like, Wilson, and she's got blood coming down her face. She's like, oh, snap. So, yeah, he broke it, but a piece of glass got her right in the side. So now she's rushed to the hospital. They said the hospital is closed. Nobody comes in. And, and that's the flashback episode where, Wilson, Wesley, and Vanessa, how they all met, and how Buck was known as Bullets, how he was the best marksman. Foggy was in this episode as well, too, because Foggy's like, we're here to help people. We're lawyers. We don't, we have to follow the law and all this. But, he helped, Foggy knew this guy. He's like, look, you don't know what, he's like, you guys have no idea who you're working for. I got to get out of here. He's like, here, this was our money that we saved. I'm giving it to you. Go see your brother. Go get a new life. Like, hey, look, man, just please take this money and go home. Go see your brother. Have a new life. And Matthew's like, hey, where's that money? He's like, sorry, Matt, I had to do it. I knew him from all my childhood, and I wanted to have a fresh life. So that was kind of cool to see Foggy. And then as Vanessa drinks this pineapple juice, she's like, like nurse. And, pressure goes down. And then Vanessa Fisk dies. And, now Kingpin, he's holding her, and the doctor comes like, sir, I'm so sorry for your loss. I've tried my best. She's gone to the place where we all will go to soon. So he comes to the doctor's like, just bring it in. And, he's like, Mr. Mayor. He's like crushing him. He's like, and he kills him. Like, oh, snap. Because he's not going to bear that pain. So they have a funeral for Vanessa. And, they're saying like, oh, the mayor, he's in depressed. He's in exile. He's heartbroken because of his love. People are, paying his condolences, but he's not that type of person. So he just wants to just take control of the city. Like he wants everything the way he wanted to make the city. And then, now it's like everyone knows, like, oh, he's at large, he's doing terrible things. People are rioting. So they're rioting outside the mayor's office. And so uh, Daniel and BB go upstate to see his mom. And, he pulls some out of her, her jacket's like, what is this? What is this? Like, what are you going to get me in trouble? Look, you don't know who I am. You don't know Buck, bullets. He's going to kill you. So, he's, like BB's like, you're holding me hostage. But they play footage of all the people who were in jail. They said, I didn't go to jail for anything. I was taken. They took me by force. And now they're like, okay, people are rioting. So one of the task force agents took that kid that, said, you betrayed us. Like, hey, this is for betraying us. And he shot him. Like, oh, what'd you do? Oh, the rioters, they killed the cop. And they're shooting everybody. They're killing people. And all of a sudden, Karen, one of the task force people, like, oh, it's Karen Page. You're under arrest. So now she goes into processing. She's in jail. And then the famous detective who's now captain of the police force was in this episode. That was so awesome to see the captain who was a cop and a detective. Now he was the precinct captain of New York, which was so cool. So Karen, is like, hey, you only get one chance. And Daredevil's like, hey, I'm going to represent you in court tomorrow so that we can set you free and get you out of here. So now Karen's going, she's going to court. They say, oh, Karen Page, she's a vigilante. She broke the law. She killed somebody, which she didn't. But then, like, they said, like, Matthew comes in, like, oh, Matthew Murdock, the guy who was missing is here, And he's like, Your Honor, I'm here to represent Karen Page. And so now they're like, oh, Your Honor, she's a vigilante. It's like, my client is not a vigilante. She was defending herself. She doesn't wear a mask. She's just a regular. She basically was an assistant to Foggy and Murdoch in the first season of Daredevil. So now, it's getting out of hand. But then what was really sad was Daniel died because Daniel was protecting BB. He's like, no, please don't take me. So, Buck is like, hey, where is she? She's uptown. Like, where is she? Like, and he's beating them. He's hurting. He's like, oh, Buck, one day you're going to get the bullet to you. And bullets just took out Daniel. Daniel, he wasn't a bad person. But at the same time, you got to give him some credit. Like, he really did care for BB, and he didn't want her to get killed because, she's like, you don't want to be this person. It's not the person you want to be. He's like, look, I shoveled a person's body. I've done terrible things, and this is my life. And now as we get to the season finale, it was crazy. Mayor Fisk comes to the trial, and, he's like, I stand. So, Daredevil, and whispering, he hears him like, oh, Matthew, I'll do terrible things to you. I know your secret. If you try to come across me, I'll do it. So, they said, so they watched the video of the shipmate who was killed. They said, oh, Your Honor, there was one more witness on that ship. They said, oh, who was on there? Daredevil. And then, which was super crazy, Matthew Murdock reveals himself saying, ladies and gentlemen, I am Daredevil. Like, oh, prove it. He took his folding cane, bang, 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 and caught it. And then one of the cops that arrested Karen's like, oh, that blonde lawyer who beat us in the apartment, he's Daredevil. Whole room went nuts. Everybody was going crazy. They said, wow, Matthew Murdock is Daredevil. And when you watch, you're like, oh my gosh. And the protest, the rioting, one of the task force X knocked the captain down. He's like, let him in. But of course, Mayor Fisk like, open the door. And he's hurting these people. He's throwing them, bashing them, killing. He's like, boo. And he's beating them. And then he's like, I wanted to make this city. I love my city. But then Daredevil and Jessica Jones have to stop it. They're like, no, stop. All the people they're like, stop. This is not us. And he's holding like, no, stay down. Like, look. Take the deal, please. He's like, fine, I will have to shake your hand to take the deal. So they shake hands, and now he's taking the deal. But also as well, too, Matthew Murdock is now sent to jail for all the crimes and assault that he's done. So now they're like, oh, now like Daredevil's going to jail. He's going to get killed. What's going to happen to him? And we get our special cameo appearance of Luke Cage himself. Luke Cage, Power Man, makes his debut with Jessica Jones. Jessica is back to becoming an investigator, and they have their daughter. My goodness gracious, guys, this was, I say, the best season 2 finale of all time. Great series. So many incredible things happened. I loved it. It was the best. It was insane. And I'm so ready to see where we go with now the future of season 3. Well, that does it today, everyone. That is my inclusion to season 2. It was the best. And also get ready for May 12th. That is the Punisher special that comes out. One Last Kill. I'm so ready for that. John Bertho is back. You guys have an awesome, safe day. I'll talk to you later. Be cool, be awesome, be the greatest people you are. Ladies and gentlemen, justice is blind.